Hello, and welcome to the Lucy Liu Show, the fueling station for your mind, business, and life. And now, here's your host, Lucy Liu.
Hello, beautiful souls. As this episode lands on Thanksgiving, I am forever grateful for each like and comment on my social media. Thank you for being part of my journey. Thank you for those who inspire me. You might not even know it, or I have messaged you to let you know that you do inspire me. Thank you, my clients, for showing up for yourself and trusting me as your guidance. Thank you, my friends. You know who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is not joy that makes us grateful. It is gratitude that makes us joyful. I am so grateful that I have joy in my life, and I want it for you too. As a business owner, I think joy is also knowing that our finances are in good place. And that's why I have my guest today, Liz Zaslove. She is a certified public accountant, a bookkeeper who helps six-figure entrepreneurs get to the next level through bookkeeping and taxes. And don't worry, this episode is for earlier stages in entrepreneurship so that you can get to that next level. Here's Liz. Thank you for coming on the show, Liz.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
What is the most important thing a business owner should do when they start their business?
Oh my goodness. Hands down, open a business bank account. It is so important to have your business separate from your personal, because honestly, you're going to miss things if you try to pay for some things on your personal card and then some things on your business card. So yeah, open a business bank account. It will literally be life-changing, especially when it comes to tax time.
Yes, that's the first thing I tell my clients to do. Start an LLC. That's when you feel the confidence, right? You feel you're a real business owner. And I believe it's the same when you open a business bank account. You're a real business owner.
Oh yeah. And it's kind of like believing in yourself before maybe the income is there. It's believing that I'm going to need to have an LLC. I'm going to need to have a business bank account because I'm going to be a total boss soon and I have to have my finances in order.
Yeah, and talking about an LLC, is there a difference if you establish an LLC with a lawyer or accountant, or say to do a DIY online with Zen Business or LegalZoom?
Yeah. So here's kind of where I stand on the situation is if you are going to be going into business with someone else, like another partner, other than your spouse, really, I would say you should go to a lawyer or an accountant even, and make sure that they set up your operating agreement, which is basically you two agreeing on paper, signing it, saying, this is how we're going to share the profit. This is what happens if this person goes MIA. This is what's going to happen when we have to take out a loan. And it really helps you kind of do like premarital counseling, but for your business. So I think that that's super important. If you're going to go into business with another couple or maybe another gal friend of yours, whoever it may be, I would definitely go to a lawyer. On the other hand, I also think LegalZoom is awesome. If you're going to just go in as your own person, a single member LLC, and you're the only partner, absolutely, you can totally use LegalZoom. I think that it's a great option. And just be sure that you're filing in your proper state and all of that kind of stuff, which I believe that both of those companies really help you decipher how you should file. But if you have more questions or you're unsure about what they're doing, then definitely reach out to your CPA or your tax person because they're going to have a lot of answers to those questions.
And when do you get a bookkeeper?
Okay, so I would say that when you start to hit like 5K months or a 60,000 a year, I would say at that point, you're going to want to start getting a bookkeeper because it's going to become too cumbersome for you to try to do it yourself at that point. And it's somebody who can really guide you and keep track of it because you want to be focusing on your business and not trying to figure out how to do the number side of it.
So what should you do if you're not at that point yet?
So if you're not at that point, I think that the biggest mistake you could make is just saying, okay, well, that doesn't matter for me. So I'm going to just not do anything at all. I think the best way you could do it is either use some sort of Excel tracker or a spreadsheet or use QuickBooks Self-Employed. Honestly, it's the greatest. It connects to your bank account. It transfers all of your information in every month, and it's $12.50 a month, which is obviously much cheaper than it would cost to have a bookkeeper. But that is a great way to start doing it. But if it starts to take you longer than a few hours every month, then that's also probably a good indication that you might want to actually just get a bookkeeper to do it, because you could be doing a lot of other things that are better suited for your time.
And there are also other softwares such as Xero or Wave Accounting. Do they all work the same, or what are your suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of them are similar. I personally love QuickBooks and Xero. Those are my favorites. I would say that just be cautious when you're going for some of the softwares like FreshBooks or Wave, just making sure that they are able to integrate with your business well. But I do think that they're all very similar in that sense. I think QuickBooks Self-Employed is probably just the most common that people see, and it's very user friendly. I like that it has an app, because how often are you sitting on the couch watching TV and you could just pull open your app and edit that and work on your finances for the month? So I think that that's a really good way to do it, but there's multiple ways for sure.
And they all yield the same results, basically, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They all give you the same results. I think that there's some aspects of QuickBooks that is better than Xero, and some that are aspects of Xero that are way better than QuickBooks. But I think it's all kind of one and the same. They all do basically the same thing.
What are some of the other biggest mistakes you see people make when it comes to taxes?
Yeah, I would say that back to our first question, the biggest mistake people make is not separating their business and their personal expenses and accounts. When you do that and you're paying for personal things on your business card, or vice versa, you're paying for business things on your personal card, there's going to be so many things that are overlooked and missed. And last year, I actually had a client who did a lot of this intermixing, and she ended up missing I think it was close to $50,000 of expenses. And based off of the state that she lived in, she ended up saving $14,000 of taxes when we went back through her personal information. So it's really important to really keep everything separated to ensure that you're not going to intermix the two and miss out on expenses or income on either side. Also, another big one is when people don't make estimated tax payments and or they don't save for taxes. So the worst feeling in the world is when you get to tax time in April and your accountant comes to you and says, you owe $5,000 and you don't have the $5,000 to pay. You can obviously do an extension and try to save up in time, or you could do a payment plan, but that is just an awful, awful feeling. And I think that that's the biggest thing that people are scared about taxes is they're like, oh no, how much am I going to owe? But at the end of the day, if you can just start saving every month a certain percentage, whatever percentage you and your accountant want to work out, whether that's 15 or 20%, it kind of really depends where you live. But if you just saved a little bit each month, by the time tax time comes around, you're going to be more than happy to be able to make that payment at the end of the week when he gives you your tax return or she gives you your tax return. It really just makes it a lot more stress-free when you're not constantly worrying, like, where is the money going to come from for taxes?
What are some most common expenses that clients want to deduct but actually cannot?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say things like clothing or makeup, or I've had clients ask me if they could deduct their facialist, things like that. Those are personal expenses that even if you're wearing the clothes to your job or you're wearing the clothes for your Zoom meetings or something like that, they're still just not going to be deductible. Another few other ones is really big gifts for clients. So I know that a few coaches send out little gifts at the end of the year, whether they're Christmas or just holiday gifts, whatever they are. Anything that's in excess of $25 is actually not a tax deductible expense. So if you're going to give your clients a gift that's $100, $75 of that is not going to be deductible. So you get $25 per client.
So even if you take your client out on a full day of self-care for a VIP day at the spa, you cannot deduct that.
Yeah, so that would be entertainment. Unfortunately, changed it. So entertainment is not even half deductible anymore. And same thing for meals. If you are going out to lunch or meeting a client for coffee, absolutely, that would be deductible as a business meal. But if you just go to Starbucks every day, that's not really deductible, especially if it's just for you. If you want to deduct any business meals or drinks, I guess, in that case, you would need to be having a business conversation with a client or an employee or something along those lines. But just kind of going to Starbucks on your daily run is not a business expense.
So if people were to work with you, what do they need to provide you? Or how does the client process, bookkeeping process actually look like?
Yeah. So what we would do is we would get started on either QuickBooks Online or Zero. I love using an online platform because then that way you and I can both be looking at the same thing at the same time. And you're not always like waiting until like your accountant can get back to you. So I love those two platforms, like I said earlier. And then also we do an onboarding meeting. So basically we'll have a Zoom meeting. It's like 90 minutes long and we will connect all of your accounts to the softwares. This will ensure that we don't miss anything and everything gets imported in. And then if we need to, if it applies to your business, we'll set up a way to handle sales tax and set up a way to handle inventory. There's a lot of really great applications that actually will connect with QuickBooks and with Xero in order to help your business run a lot smoother.
And as your business grows, instead of bookkeeping, that's when you can step in actually as the CFO of the company, right? When should that happen?
Yeah. So a CFO is the certified financial officer, and it's kind of like the CEO's BFF. That's my tag. I love it that it really is as a woman or as a man, and you're going through and you're opening your own business. You really want to have someone who can come alongside you and help you with the financial side of the business so that you can really focus on continuing to grow and to thrive and to scale your business. But I would say that once you start to hit about $100,000 revenue, that's going to be when you want to start looking into a CFO. I come in and I will do tax planning and tax prep so we can take the stress out of all of that. Budgeting, forecasting. If we can afford to hire somebody, we can do scenarios where we can decipher, okay, we can hire someone at this point, or no, we're not here yet. Let's see when we can. Or even if you have an S corporation, you have to take a salary as the owner. And so those are the kind of things that I'll step in and do alongside you and really help guide you in that side of the business, because I went to school for accounting and I understand that most people didn't. So it helps to have somebody who knows the number side of the business so deeply, really guide you and be your friend and hold your hand through that process so you can focus on scaling your business.
So besides looking at Excel spreadsheets all day, what's a good quote that you live by?
Okay, so I love this gal on Instagram. Her name is Keisha Fitzgerald, and this is something that came from one of her podcast episodes. So she says, show up with your whole heart and refuse to be the girl who buries her potential in her excuses. I think that just really hits me to the core, because there's so many times where I get in my head and I get wrapped up in the day-to-day and I don't see a way out, or I say like, oh, it's always going to be this way. And so stopping making excuses and really just buckling down, I love it.
I love that, because we can always give us excuses.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good. So if someone might need one of those services, where can they find you at?
Yeah. So I would connect with me on Instagram. I am at the Caffeinated CPA. I must say I'm very coffee addicted and obsessed. So that's where that little name came from. Or you can go to my website, which is zasloveaccounting.com. I would say find me on Instagram and you can check out, I have tax tips and bookkeeping advice and all sorts of things on my Instagram where you can kind of get to know me a little bit better, as well as a link to my website.
Awesome. Thank you for your tips.
Yeah, thank you so much.
To all the beautiful souls listening, thank you for joining me on this episode of The Lucy Liu Show. When I'm not podcasting, I am coaching high-achieving women in life transitions, getting unstuck, kissing overwhelm goodbye and living a more joyful and fulfilled life through strategic goal setting and mindset transformation. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe, rate, or share this with a friend. And don't forget to join me for the next episode. Remember, there is always a way and more blessings are coming your way. For free resources and show notes, head over to LucyLouCoaching.com.